Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us this evening for the Upper Darby Township Council Committee Workshop meeting for August 4th, 2021. At this moment, we're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A moment of silence for all those who can walk. Okay, Councilwoman Phillips, can you please give us a roll call? Councilman here. Wait, council members, please remember to turn on your mics, especially now that we are wearing masks. We'll get that announced, but everyone make sure you have your mics on so that the streaming can hear. Okay, thank you. Go ahead. Sorry for interrupting. Sure.
Councilman Tunis.
Good afternoon, Upper Darby.
Councilwoman Phillips is here. Councilman Silva.
Present.
Councilwoman Bagwell.
I'm present.
Councilman Glenn.
Present.
Councilman Burgess is excused. Councilman Siddiq.
Present.
Councilwoman Corralian. Here. Councilman Barnett.
Here.
Councilman Wagner is excused. Council President Wagner.
Wentz. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
right. It's all good. Here.
And we have Officer Vacant.
Yep. Right, and also to acknowledge that we have Solicitor Kilkenny here. We have Mayor Kepper, CEO Bertioni, Municipal Clerk Chicetta, if I'm pronouncing it.
Wow.
How long did it take you to get that one
No,
down?
I can't guarantee I'll repeat it though.
Can't get
That's the problem. LNI Director, Mr. McSween. So thank you all for being here. Solicitor Kilkenny, you're up.
Sure. Thank you very much. I'm going to read for you a memo dated August 4th, 2021 to all Township appointees and CAO. Subject COVID mask policy update, substantial transmission level. The community transmission level for Delaware County has been elevated substantially. The increase in positive COVID-19 cases for Delaware County is estimated at an increase of 360% from the last few weeks. The CDC recommends the use of masks indoors regardless of vaccination status for communities where the transmission level is substantial. As of Wednesday, August 4th, 2021, Upper Darby employers are required to wear a mask regardless of vaccination status when indoors or inside a vehicle. Employers are not required to wear a mask outdoors at this time. All visitors to the township building are required to wear a mask. Employees are still encouraged to provide the CDC vaccination records to HR here at Upper Darby and give you the contact information if you need it. Employees who are exposed to COVID-19 are not required to quarantine provided they have submitted their vaccine record to HR at Upper Darby and are not experiencing COVID-19 symptoms. Employees who are not fully vaccinated and are experiencing COVID-19 symptoms or have exposed to COVID-19 are still required to self-quarantine and notify the department head or designate immediately. I had an opportunity to speak to the CAO and the council president this evening. We are requiring all residents to wear masks at public meeting per our policy, per the CDC guidance, Upper Darby's home rule charter, and the guidance from the Chester County / Delaware County Health Department. So if someone does not want to wear a mask, the Sergeant of Arms will approach someone, ask them politely to wear a mask, offer them a mask, and if they refuse to do so, we will ask that that person be escorted out.
Okay, thank you. So, Sergeant of Arms, can you verify that everyone in the room is wearing a mask? Great, thank you. Okay, next up, we have rules of meeting decorum. Upper Darby Township Council and residents will maintain professional respect for each other. Council encourages free speech, however, civility is required, which would prohibit threats, profanity, scandalous, impertinent, and redundant comment, or any comment the discernible purpose of which is to disrupt or prevent the conduct of the business of the meeting. Public forum begins now, and you've got, and we gotta get our timers rolling.
Okay.
So if you are speaking at the podium, you must continue to wear your mask at all times. Please make sure it's covering your nose as well as your mouth. Have to put my timer on. Okay, so my timer is set for 3 minutes and your timer is set for 2:45. Okay. So first person,
Miss Tina Hamilton.
Good evening.
is your name, if you can move your mask up over your nose, and state your address.
Okay, Tina Hamilton, Recovery Without Barriers, 4715 Woodland Avenue, Drexel Hill, PA. So as you're all aware, we do the outreach to 69th Street. Oh my gosh, you're kidding me. We've been doing this weekly for, it's going to be a year. We bring toiletries, we bring toothbrushes, toothpaste, clean underwear, clothes, the whole shebang down there. We built a big trust of this community. They really do know us, and we're very comfortable with them. You know, we really feel safe down there, though it's not safe down there. It's really out of hand down there. We worked with the county to do the vaccines. We vaccinated quite a few. We made our voices heard about the things that are needed for these people. This is our homeless guide. This guide is all the programs that are established in our county that our people in this township can't access them. So what I want, what I'm asking, is for some kind of help to get our county to get this stuff to us. When they closed the Connect by night, they took away all access to the help of these programs. I'm not even talking COVID stuff. I'm talking programs well established for many years through our county. It's without an address. They can't access this. When they took Connect by Night, they took that opportunity for that address, which was also shut down for COVID. So for 18 months, they weren't able to get an address. So our community has grown because they have no access to this. We need to get access to it. We go to all these meetings, you know, I know what it takes. I know what the barriers are, because that's what I work at, is what are these barriers? And we got to get them out of the way. The biggest barrier is no address. You can't get any of the treatment to these people because there's no address. There's no case management. There's no place for them to go, no place to get a shower, no place to pee, no place to go to the bathroom at all. So if they're doing it on the streets, where else are they going to go? You can understand restaurants not letting them in. They're not letting them in, so they're going to go on streets. So this is what's happening. These people are defecating on our streets. They're peeing on the side, I mean, in plain view. And there's nothing anybody can do, and they don't have a choice. Everything's closed to them. We go down there with food, we're down there for food and clothes, and we're there to help them. And I can get them into drug treatment, and we've gotten a few into drug treatment. But they come back to the streets because these programs are not available to them. All because they don't have an address. I can get them into treatment without an address, without an ID. They'll take them. It's not the case when it comes to these programs. They want an address. Without an address, you can't get an ID. Big barriers. But if we got case management down to 69th Street to help these people, we would do everything in our power to cooperate and try and get it done. We're seeing people die, and I'm really concerned about it. If you guys could take a look at these, can I bring one up to you?
Yeah, your time is up, but thank you very much for bringing
Okay,
up
can I bring
that.
these up so you can see?
Just give it to CAO.
Madam President, may I ask a question?
Wait one
Then you'll
second.
see
Sure.
what's available.
Um,
If they're not.
So, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Our council and mayor have been working with the county on the RFP, they've got it, go ahead.
So,
You got to wear your mask.
I'm sorry, I apologize for that. I believe that the county is voting on the RFP this month.
What is that?
Can you speak in the mic?
Sorry. So I believe that the county is voting on an RFP this month for one of the homeless campaign. I'm not sure of all the details, so.
The proposal that we had asked them to put out there about a place down there.
Yeah, I'm not sure of all the details, but I believe that that's coming up this month. I'm not sure who the person is or anything like that, but I believe that's being voted on in May.
Well, I know we have a community health program
So,
too, right here.
wait, I'm sorry, your time is technically up, so, I'm sorry, it's because of the way the timing is. So we will definitely look into what you
Yeah.
brought to us. We'll make sure that that's included in the process. Can you also give CAO your card for me, so that I can make sure I can connect with you to discuss this further? Does that
I
work?
appreciate it.
Okay, sorry, Councilman Bennett, you had a.
Thank you. Yeah, I just have a question to Ms. Hamilton. You mentioned that the homeless, as individuals, I suppose, need an address.
Yes.
Explain to me what the significance of having an address is and how they go about getting it.
Well, we had,
I'm sorry, technically her time is up.
But I have a question. If
I understand, but that's why we need to follow up with her later. So.
you want to have a meeting with her after this?
Yes, we can have a meeting afterwards, or we'll arrange, I'm getting her information. I will connect, I'll CC you in on the email that I sent to her, so that we can have this conversation
I
outside.
don't see why we can't have a discussion this evening. But if you agree that we can have a meeting after this meeting this evening, maybe in the other room, I'd be very satisfied
Sure,
with that.
if, assuming we're not at midnight, I would love to do
All
that,
right.
okay? If we're, past 11 o'clock at night or so, I would much rather meet with her at a timely fashion that's more feasible for everyone who should be intending to attend. That's all.
Whatever.
Okay. Thank you very much for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you, Ms. Hamilton.
And next,
Paula Ann, Miss Paula Ann, I'm sorry if I butchered your last name, Sabatino?
you got it.
Thank you.
Hi, Plan Sabatina, Recovery Without Barriers, 4715 Woodland in Drexel Hill. Just so you know a little bit of history about what we did, the first night we were down there, we got together as a group and we said, it's hot out. Let's go bring them some water. Let's go bring them some toiletries. So we did. We went along with tailor-made vets. And then while we were down there, we said, we want to try to get people into treatment for drugs. Because I, maybe like some of you, assume that everybody's homeless because they're drug addicts or because they're alcoholics. Okay? Found out I was completely off about that. Okay? So when we're down there, we got this guy in. First night we were down there, we got him into treatment. Beautiful thing. We still think he's in there because we haven't heard anything bad about him yet. We usually hear through the grapevine. So we said, let's do it again. So we all just kept going down there. What I didn't expect to happen was get this disturbing education about how these people are throwaway people. They are throwaway people. They're thrown away by their families, they're thrown away by society, and they're thrown away by us as a township, as a community. I can honestly stand here and say that if it wasn't for the residents of this community that come out and donate food, toiletries, whatever, they bring it to my shop or they bring it to Tina's house, these people would have nothing, absolutely nothing. To put a little face on it, I know most of you know my mom died not that long ago. I see this older woman sitting there, this older Black woman. She's got to be 75.
you all right?
She's got to be 75 years old. And she sits there in her own feces, and pee because she can't get, all the bathrooms are locked. She can't get into her bathroom. So then there's another guy. It's code blue. And there's another guy, and the guy is trying to get food from us, and his hands are black. I've never in my life seen it. It looked like leather. And I said to one of the paramedics, and I said, what is wrong with this guy's hands? It's frostbite because it's on the street and we can't. So now I have to look at this guy and look at this woman and say, I'm sorry, I can't put you in a place tonight because nobody has a bed for you. Code Blues are all supposed to have beds. So you know what I did? Went to the county. What a waste of time that was. What a waste of time. They blew smoke the entire time. So if you're wondering why we're here tonight, knowing that the county gets the funds for that, we know that. We're asking you, as the community leaders of this township, to help us help these people and help us go to the county, fight for the rights of these it's sad. You've got to be down there to see it. I know, Laura, I invited you down and you were going to come down and invite one of the groups down. I'm not sure which one it was, Health and Human Services, but no one came. You have to come and see what we're talking about. We are willing to put all the work in. We need you to help us. We need you to be the strength behind what we're trying to do. You're supposed to be the professionals. You're the leaders of this community, not us. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I did not make it down. I was trying to line up the other council members that have been working on the homeless, and working with the county on getting the homeless cafe to come as well. Unfortunately, the night we had talked about, I had a conflict and I haven't been able to work it out to come down. I definitely would like to come check it out. But, you know, I too have, pre-COVID, you know, walked to the train and seen the homeless situation, you know, on 69th Street. And I know it's gotten a lot worse now that SEPTA had taken out all the benches out of the transportation station. There used to be benches and there used to be benches along the bus entrances that those benches are now gone. So yes, it is a horrific situation and it's definitely something that is on our radar and it's definitely something that we want to resolve. We greatly appreciate the work that you all have been doing down there and other community groups have been doing work down there as well. And we greatly appreciate what you are doing and the help that you're giving. And yes, this is a major concern of ours and we appreciate you coming and giving us more information. And I'm very sorry for you. Thank you. Yes.
Tina, Pauline, Letty, I just want to personally thank you guys for everything you do. I was there, donated over last week, and I applaud each and every one of you, tailor-made vets, Rich, all you guys that are down there helping them. My heart goes out to you guys and to them because there's not a lot of people like you guys out there that truly care. And so give yourself a pat on the back for that.
I remember that's the problem. Just go with that. Let me know.
I put my real name.
Oh,
I'm gonna go by Letty, okay? My name is really by
I
Letty.
apologize for that.
So,
Yeah, address.
okay, 4715 Woodland Avenue with Recovery Without Barriers. So, yes, we have been down there every year, every week for the last year. You know, I have experience with homelessness myself. I was homeless from 11 years old to 17 years old, okay? So I know what it's like firsthand to live on the streets. I know what it's like firsthand for nobody to reach out and help. I know what it's like to be on both sides of the fence, in addiction and in recovery. And from what I see from both sides, everybody out here just does not care. That's what I see, okay? So yes, we do come here today to stand before you to ask for your help. We have people that are dying on the streets. Just because they're in the disease of addiction doesn't mean their life does not matter. Because it does. With that being said, we saved somebody 2 weeks ago. We Narcaned them twice. We got them up, we got them moving. By the time the police were there, we already had them sitting up. We were asked, did you wait 5 minutes for the Narcan? You can't overdose on Narcan. You can give them 10 shots. It doesn't matter. All that matters is it wakes them up. It's not even working.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, can you get closer to the microphone?
It's not even working against the fentanyl. And the other issue was
Our police officers have been told to stand down. Why? I have no idea. And when the police officers did show up, there is no compassion. Zilch. Zippo. It's kind of really disgusting if you ask me. I don't care if the person's an addict or not. They deserve a chance and a shot to have at life. That's what we're all here for, to help one another. That's what it's supposed to be about. So yes, we're asking for the services and help with the services that are out there that we do know are available. We do know the funds are there. This is a worthless piece of paper. That's what this is. We called every single number on it, and this is county funding. We called every single number on it. You can't get help off of this paper at all. And that's pretty much all I got to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep, hey, I came in right under.
Ms. Terry, you're welcome.
Walking out because it's taking my mask off.
Commercial. I'm sorry. CEO, did you want to weigh in on that? I'm sorry.
Sure, I just wanted to ask the council president if you wanted to give, and if you wanted to give a quick update on the administration's work with the county. and
Yes.
homelessness.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that.
So I think it's important for the community to understand that these aren't new issues here in Upper Darby or any. Many people have been working on these issues for a long period of time. And just like any social problem, there's an evolving school of thought for how to deal with it. So the Keffer administration has been working closely with the county on what's called a housing first model to address the need to have a place address in order to acquire services. That housing first model isn't employed everywhere, but the administration has been working with the county to start to address the problem in Upper Darby with the housing first model. Part of that is the RFP that Councilwoman Phillips was referring to earlier. But again, we worked closely at the direction of Mayor Keffer with the county to make sure that the RFP was not only crafted correctly, but that there were adequate responses to it. The county had issued it previously, and they were not able to get anyone to respond to the RFP. So through the work of Scott Alberts and others, we were able to get a number of responses to the RFP. People, actually, organizations interested in addressing the problem. The vote that will take place at County Council this month is a vote to award the RFP. The vote that has already taken place at County Council is a vote to allocate $1.1 million for the purchase and build out of a rapid rehousing center. The idea of a rapid rehousing center is exactly that, the housing first. So if you, it's in that sense, it's not a shelter, they're not day services. It's a rapid rehousing center. The idea being that you get people off the street into an address and then provide them services if you have any hope of addressing the problem in a long-term systemic way. So I hope that's helpful, and I apologize if it's a little long-winded, but I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that the Keffer administration has been working with the county diligently on these issues. And look, there's frustrations everywhere. There's frustrations with the county bureaucracy. There's frustrations with SEPTA. There's frustrations internally with our own bureaucracy. But everybody who's in place now is working very hard to try to address the problem. And I'm happy to keep the council and the public posted on our work.
Great, thank you. Very much good. Okay.
So I'm sorry, keep my mask on. Can I add to that also, if anyone wants to know what the housing first model looks like, you can look up Pathways to Housing. It's an excellent program that Philadelphia has. And if you look at that model, I don't know what Upper Darby's and the Delaware County model would look like, but Pathway to Housing is an excellent housing first program. Yeah, so if you look at that program, this is a lot bigger. If you look at that program, then that will give you some type of idea of what CAO, Randy was talking about. So just want to give you that, little tidbit. It's halfway to house.
Thank you. Sorry, Ms. Bryant.
Go ahead. Tay Brandon, sorry, Ms. Brandon.
Terry Bradley, 1213 Morgan Avenue, and I'll start now. Last council meeting was an embarrassment. It wasn't so long ago that Laura Wentz seemed offended and frightened by the previous administration's manner of addressing new council persons. But at last council meeting, you did the same thing and worse to the residents of this township. You open every meeting with a warning. Decorum is expected and demanded, except that that seems to apply to only those of us who have actually a right to be here. This is not your meeting. This is our meeting. Council is obligated by law to be here to discuss in our presence how you spend taxpayer dollars, how you manage the stewardship we've granted to you. We attend the meetings as a right, not as an invitation. It appears you have all forgotten that you serve us. It's not the other way around. Vince Rangione, the town manager, is not an elected official. We did not choose him. Yet you offer him the floor and stay silent while he calls names and dismisses and offends and lies to your constituents. He slings his snark shielded by council president, who wields her gavel and stopwatch, poking his head from around her just long enough to punch down. And you say nothing. There is zero integrity and less than zero courage in verbally attacking someone you know will be silenced and muted. And there is your complete lack of decorum. And you say nothing. He toggles between giddy delight of repeatedly blocking our access to information you know we're entitled to a brazen attempt as we taxpayers deign to demand that he do his job, to an arrogant boredom at having to endure performances of hoi polloi, suggesting he has to fight the old ennui at these meetings because he has so much more important things to do. Hubris and a lack of transparency and a gross abuse of government power, and you say nothing. It is shocking what you're willing to admit openly at these meetings as if you were absolutely certain there will never be consequences or any accountability. Mayor Keffer admits that she finds enforcing public safety measures a slippery slope. There's a borrowed and scary phrase. She uses taxpayer dollars to stick the solicitor on us. If the mayor relishes having a goon squad of lawyers to attack your constituents, she should pay it out of her own pocket, but not ours. Very Bill Barr-esque. And at the last council meeting, the town manager stated on record that he refused to enforce the removal demand of those 100-foot hazard trees because he found me insufficiently reverential to him. I had not kissed the ring. Slippery slope of weaponized lawyers and Alabar alternative facts and a lack of new-bending courtesy to the leader, and it all sounds very undemocratic. He says an independent arborist has examined these dangerous trees, and if that's true, and someone has put their reputation on the line to actually say these trees are sound, I have a right to know. The manager disagrees because he claims there's an ongoing non-criminal investigation. So which is it, case closed or case open? While he speaks over us and lies to the people that voted for you and believed you when you said you could be trusted, you say nothing. But I won't stay silent. I'll be here every single time, every single meeting, to make sure that the residents of Morgan and Lindale and my family are protected so that you enforce the law that is already in place regarding public safety.
That's right.
Thank you, Ms. Brandon.
Good job.
Next is,
That's awesome.
Ms. Bonnie Helen.
They did work for us. Our taxes paid.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Bonnie Gallen, 4719 Woodland Avenue. I'm sorry, I'm a little touched by the homeless story, and we really need to do something about that. But tonight, I speak, and I have to put my glasses on because I can't read. I speak tonight as not only a resident of Upper Darby, but as the chair of the Upper Darby Environmental Advisory Committee. As a resident of Upper Darby, I personally support a resolution towards zero waste, and I'm grateful that my township has the foresight and commitment to promote this economically and environmentally sound practice. Our system of government has a duty to model for us all ways of acting in the world that are sustainable, equitable, and just. So thank you for that. As the chair of the Upper Darby Environmental Advisory Committee, I want to publicly state that we support a zero waste resolution and commit ourselves to providing educational forums to the residents of Upper Darby so that all of us can understand this better and work toward a solid waste management plan that benefits all the residents of Upper Darby, as well as makes the world we live in and share a better place. We are committed to supporting the township in its efforts to develop a zero waste plan and look forward to sharing some recommendations that we are in the process of developing based on successful zero waste management practices of other municipalities. We thank you for moving us forward to a cleaner, healthier Upper Darby. Zero waste demands a personal commitment from each of us to use less, reuse more, recycle more, and be thoughtful in our consumption about packaging and things that we really want or just need. Having our township support this and work with us will benefit all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next. I'm sorry, I think we will, sorry, Ms. Helm and I did meet with, Zero Waste, Coalition prior to me bringing it to council. So so the conversation is definitely going to continue. And thank you for providing an educational program on it. And I look forward, to working with you in the future on it. I'll start with that.
Thank you.
Mr. Brian Newell.
Second Street. I'm here tonight. I was in the military and I've had friends die in my arms. And I just this year noticed that you don't fly our POW flag in this township. So I guess I'm here to ask for that to change. It's very disrespectful to the same people that defend us every day, all the freedoms that you have right now, standing in here. That's about all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Mr. Kyle McIntyre.
Kyle McIntyre, 1040 Drexel Ave. So originally I was going to talk about some accountability measures, but with some of the speeches that were talked about with homelessness, I just want to briefly touch on that. Police conduct when it comes to the homeless issue has been absolutely terrible. We were actually down there a couple of weeks ago on a Sunday, and a couple of Upper Darby police officers actually stopped us as some people from Delco Resist, which is the Black Lives Matter organization for the county. We were down there also doing a Narcan training, as well as doing some food giveaways and clothes giveaways for the people who experience homelessness down there. And the police officer, when they came over and they asked like, oh, what are you guys doing? They were like, are you with the Indian people? That's a direct quote. And they said that 3 times. I quite do not understand what they were trying to say. Clearly it didn't get across. And then on top of that, the mocking and laughing of people that are suffering from addiction, which did happen while Carol, who is the person who was running the event, was talking with the police officer. It got so bad that one of the supervisors actually had to come out. So I just wanted to provide a little bit of support to that comment that was mentioned earlier in one of the previous public comments. It's something that we want looked into. But my main public comment tonight is essentially for the fact that Upper Darby Police Department still lacks any real oversight or accountability, especially when we're talking about something as basic, and this is really what we're asking for at this point, is that Upper Darby Police Department does not collect and release statistics on officers' use of force. The Upper Darby Police does not collect and release statistics on complaints regarding discrimination. The Upper Darby Police does not in fact publish any written reports on their performance at all besides what is required by law to the FBI. I encourage you to look at what Philadelphia does because I hate to say it, we're doing worse. In fact, according to scorecard.org, which is a national organization that tracks the performance of police departments, Upper Darby Police Department scored an abysmal 29% in accountability. Philly got a 41. If the department wishes to build trust with the community, it's not going to happen by making Wawa sandwiches and helicopter landings. It comes from being transparent and doing the most basic aspects of the job, something I must now call into question. Funding per capita with Upper Darby Police Department is 72% higher than most departments, according to the US Census. Upper Darby's Police Department budget has ballooned from 17 million in 2010 to 25 million in 2019, over 40% of our budget. I'll talk more about it next meeting.
You have a few more seconds.
All I will say is go to that website, look at the statistics. We're doing horribly when it comes to fines, when it comes to police killings per arrest. And in addition,
Now you're out of time.
we've solved fewer homicides than 75% of departments.
Thank you for that information. We will definitely be looking into it.
Thank you, Ms. McIntyre. Next is Barbara Marinelli.
Barbara Marinelli, 9 Pilgrim Lane, Drexel Hill, PA. I'm with the Upper Darby Historical Society. I just want to thank you for the consideration of allocating funds for the preservation of Collinsburg Farm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lee Jordan.
Jordan, 9 Pilgrim Lane, Drexel Hill. I'm not sure if I should be speaking now or, I'm here for the public hearing.
There is no public hearing today. This is the appropriate.
I mean, but the one that was in the paper for the consolidated plan, are you voting on that this evening? The allocation of the CD,
The CDBG resolution.
the
It's a
resolutions.
resolution, it's not an ordinance, so therefore there's no public hearing on it. Or is there a public hearing?
It says public hearing on
No.
Wednesday, August 4th. I guess, maybe I should wait for that ordinance
No.
to speak.
It's not an ordinance.
I will,
It's listed in the
I
paper.
don't know where it falls on this agenda. I guess
No,
it-
no, no, hold on, I didn't understand. Hold
There
on.
was, I believe, there was separate public forum on the CDBG resolution, the 5-year plan, but I think it's perfectly appropriate to give public comment about a resolution. Actually, that's more of a solicitor question, sorry.
I guess I just wanted to comment on the plan. I just,
Please comment.
yeah, okay.
Okay, so there won't be a timer on this, right?
No,
Well,
regular
it's
public
okay. I mean,
comment.
I can be timed.
Okay, so it's because I didn't see the article, the advertisement, so can you read what the advertisement?
It just says, it just says there's a public hearing, but then it said that I guess you're going to review comments that were submitted by yesterday.
So there were public meetings, that were done
But
virtually.
this would serve the opportunity to comment.
Yeah, right. So it just says on Wednesday at 7 o'clock, there's a public hearing. But anyway, I'm thrilled that Upper Darby, did get some funding, but I'm not sure I understand the process and we don't have to talk about that now, how some of the public service organizations were identified in getting the funding. But moving forward, and I don't know how often you get funding like this, or it's just an annual thing, but some programs, that maybe can be considered is, well, something recovery without boundaries, which I'm hearing about tonight, to get some funds. Maybe some programs on the littering and educating people in our community, being proactive instead of reactive when it comes to trash. I mean, I'm at the council meetings and I hear what all of you do as council members, have cleanups, every Saturday. But I did look into, there are nonprofit organizations that maybe that's something that can be a line item moving forward, that we can get funding and educate people in the township. I don't know, provide incentives, because as we know, trash is really kind of an issue and concern. and I saw your logo and it's everybody's problem. So, I mean, I'm willing to be part of a committee if anything's, ever put together, so you can reach out to me. So, yeah, and then another, I guess, public service organization, I know Upper Darby Performing Arts Center is like a different entity now. So maybe moving forward, that could be another organization that you could look at when you're deciding how these funds are allocated. That's all I have to say.
Great, thank you. My understanding is they have to apply for these.
Is that how it is? Yeah, I
They
wasn't
have to-
sure.
The different organizations have to go through the application process.
Okay,
And so if they don't apply or they don't fill it out correctly, then that's part of what gets in the way of their ability to get.
so is that at a local, is that a county or a local level?
That's here. for-
So that's here. So what these organizations submitted like an application or something to you? Okay,
Yeah, and there's a public advertisement, and an application period, and then public hearing.
okay.
So if there are organizations that are interested, the next round,
When
we
is-
should encourage them
Is
to.
it 5 years?
It's annual.
Is that annual?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we have to do a 5-year plan. for the
Okay.
process.
Yeah, but that's all.
And, the administration is completely here to concern on, trash and litter.
Yeah,
And we stepped up litter patrols, and just this week, the mayor had a meeting with some business owners on Fern Boulevard about addressing trash concerns in that business corridor. So it is absolutely something that's being actively worked.
okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, well, every time we go to 69th Street, people at Fern Boulevard get mad and vice versa. We're trying to go to, exactly.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Elijah Neal.
Hello, Elijah Neal, 1119 Top Street. And I would just like to thank the Township Council for coming to the resolution on zero waste resolutions. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Andrew Heyman.
Good evening, Andrew Heyman, 309 Edmonds Avenue, Drexel Hill. I believe the subject I wanted to discuss tonight was addressed at the beginning of the meeting, so I'll try to keep this short. But I want to thank you for mandating mask wearing in these meetings. I think we all hate wearing masks. I can tell you, I hate them more than anybody. What I hate even more is the idea that I gave somebody a breakthrough virus and led to the death of a family member or a friend who was disabled or a senior citizen especially. The last year, this virus has killed more Americans than died during the entire 4 years of the American Civil War. This isn't a joke. It's serious, and I appreciate you taking it seriously. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, that's it.
Okay, so public forum is closed. Great. So next up, we have the Honorable Mayor Barbara Ann Hecker.
Good evening, everyone. Last night's National Night Out was a great event. I'm very grateful to our fire and police departments and to Allison Dobbins for all the hard work in making the event a success. And I'm glad to meet Jen Henley. She works for the Delaware County Victim Assistance Center, and she will be working out of our police headquarters on Westchester Pike. She's going to be a great addition to and a great resource for our residents in Upper Darby and also Delaware County. I'd like to thank the Andrews Pizza for the generous pizza donation, as well as the Pretzel Factory, Burmese Pretzels, and Rosati Water Ice for providing other refreshments. It was great to see everyone who came out, including the many vendors we had last night. And we're looking forward to improving on the event every year going forward. And the weather was very cooperative too, so that was great. Last week, we received notice of a $50,000 grant award from the Keystone Communities Program for facade improvements to the businesses and buildings in the Terminal Square area. The next steps towards implementation include applications which will be available soon to the property owners. And we've budgeted matching funds for this grant through the CDBG program. And as we've been discussing throughout this meeting, COVID cases continue to rise in Delaware County. Getting vaccinated is critically important. It's not too late to protect yourself and those around you, and it's not too late to get your second dose if you have missed it. As you can see, we've reinstated the mask wearing policy in this building. This Friday evening, there will be a pop-up vaccination clinic at the Garrett Drexel Fire Company at 323 Evans Avenue from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. First or second doses of the Pfizer vaccine will be available, so this is a great opportunity for anyone aged 12 or older to get vaccinated. No appointment or health insurance is needed. There are also 2 vaccination clinics happening in Upper Darby this upcoming Sunday, August 8th. The first location is the mosque, the masjid at 69th and Walnut from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. The second location is Tienda Don Pedro at 53 Garrett Road, just across the street from this building from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Both locations are offering the Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson vaccines. To find a vaccine location near you, please call 484-276-2100 or visit www.delcopa.gov/vax. For resources about vaccine hesitancy, please visit www.factsoverfiction.info. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you. And thank you for all the information about the different vaccination types. That was great. And also part of my part is basically to thank everyone who made the National Night Out, the success that was, and everyone who were vendors and volunteers, and everyone who came out to take part. It was a great event. And also wanted to thank everyone who in our community who's come out for community meetings that we've had in different neighborhoods throughout the township. It has been really great to meet with the residents in their neighborhood, walk with them, see what the concerns they have, and help to solve the problems. So thank you, Mayor, for helping make all those meetings happen. And also wanted to thank everyone who helped to make the improvements of Gillespie Park possible and all the hard work that the goats did. And I understand from the Shade Tree Commission that part of the grant will allow for the planting of over 100 trees in Gillespie Park, which is excellent. So I just wanted to thank Bonnie Helm and the Shade Tree Commission for all the work that you're doing to help us to revitalize the trees and so forth in our community. And let us know when you are planting, because I'm sure we'll love to come out and help plant. That's awesome. So that's really all that I have. So moving on, we have committee reports, Planning, Zoning, and Building Code Committee. Co-chairs Councilman Quinn Jr. and Phillips. Members Councilman Bonnet and Tunis Jr. Take it away. Yeah, is your mic on?
It is.
Okay, make sure it's close, because of the mask.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, project a little.
Yeah. Does anybody on council, excuse me, anybody on committee have anything to present to this board?
Oh, actually, sorry, I messed you up. My bad. I wasn't paying attention. We actually have to move, before we go on with your report, I'm sorry, that was my bad. We have resolution 35-21, and Solicitor, can you give us a brief on that? Sorry about that.
Sure. Whereas all citizens and community request for the 47-year community development program, the Consolidated Action Plan for 2021-2025, the Community Development Block Grant COVID Amendment, and the Citizen Participation Plan have been received and evaluated, and public hearings have been held to receive citizen input and comment. Whereas Upper Darby Township. Whereas Upper Darby Township has carefully reviewed and considered these various requests. Whereas Exhibit A attached sets forth trial allocations to be included in the final action plan for 2021. Now therefore be it resolved, the attached Exhibit A representing final allocations of funds for the 47th year community development program are hereby approved, and no changes are made to the citizen participation plan. The proper officers are hereby authorized to take steps as necessary to implement the intent of this resolution. I'll give a brief summary of what A is. So the citizen participation plan has been developed by Upper Darby Township, Pennsylvania, to provide citizens, residents, public and private agency, as well as adjacent units of general local government, including local government agencies with metropolitan-wide planning responsibilities, an adequate opportunity to participate in advisory role in planning, implementing, and assessing a non-housing community development plan, including a one-year action plan. There is an administration section. This plan shall provide for the process and consultation with local governments in accordance with the citizen participation. Also, this plan shall provide for a process to receive citizen resident participation at the community-wide level. Consultation. When preparing a non-housing community development plan, including a one-year action plan, Upper Darby shall consult with other public and private agencies. B, when preparing the description of priority non-housing community development needs, Upper Darby shall notify the adjacent units of general local government. C, Upper Darby shall consult with adjacent units of general local government, including local government agencies with metropolitan-wide planning responsibilities. D, in accordance with section 3991, 100B, Upper Darby shall consult with the entities. Citizen comment on participation plans and amendments. Upper Darby Township has provided citizens with reasonable opportunity to comment on this plan. Non-housing community development plan and action redevelopment. There is a public hearings in order to ensure that maximum resident participation is achieved in the formulation of the non-housing community development plan. Within one action plan, Upper Darby shall conduct all meetings remotely in accordance with the PA stay-at-home order. Obviously, that's not no gravel.
Right, but the meetings were virtually at the time leading up to this.
Right. The purpose of the public hearings, the purpose of the public hearing shall be the following: enable the township of Darby to disseminate the following program information as pertains to the 5-year action plan. Results of public hearing: all comments and proposals which are rendered as a result of any public hearing shall be noted and carefully considered by township officials, and the preparation of future planning for the development of a 5-year non-housing plan. Criteria for amendment to programs. The township may decide to amend its approved programs based upon one of the following: to make substantial changes in amounts approved for an activity, to undertake an activity using funds from one program covered by a program which was not previously described in an action plan or funding application, to decide not to or carry out any activity for which funding is approved. D, to substantially change the purpose, scope, location, or beneficiaries of an activity. It defines substantial changes. There's the notice of public hearings. There is the availability to the public, and it lists the Upper Darby Township address and phone number and email. It talks about complaint process if you're not satisfied, and it talks about the jurisdiction of this. And on the back here is Exhibit A, year 47 CDBG award, $169,775 for administration, $200,000 to the first-time home buyers down payment assistance, $100,000 for code enforcement, $450,000 for park improvements such as pavilions, basketball courts, equipment, $75,000 for owner-occupied home rehab, $1,000 for fair housing outreach, $40,000 for domestic abuse project, $81,000 for the Community Action Agency of Delaware County, $10,000 for Upper Darby Libraries, $38,401 for Community YMCA of Eastern Delaware County, $56,000 for multicultural community and family services, $31,500 for Men of Action, Brothers of Faith, $150,000 for historic preservation Bolingbrook, $200,000 for street resurfacing and handicap ramps, $110,000 for facade improvements to the business district, the targeted 69 business district, The CDBG C5 funds, $400,000 for street improvements, unit block off Garrett Road for better pedestrian distancing due to COVID-19. $50,000 for bike racks to improve mobility for those uninterested in public transportation due to COVID-19. $50,000 for touchless bathrooms and COVID safety in the library, and $92,000 for senior services due to COVID-19 pandemic, purchase of 2 vehicles for Meals on Wheels. And that concludes my report.
Great, thank you. And I also want to verify that this is due to the timing needed, that this needs to be approved this evening, right? Just for the confirmation.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, just want to confirm that's why we're approving this one at this today. Just want to also let you know that on the agenda, section 8.2, for the next, for the other resolution, we had a typo on that one, and it will move to the next meeting instead of being approved today. So I just wanted to clarify the difference between the two resolutions. Okay. So this one is something that we do need to vote on today. So, but before we actually vote on it, because it is our committee meeting, I would love for, if there are any council members that have any questions and concerns on it, for us to go through that before we go through this process.
I do.
So please go ahead.
So like all this money that's going to the different organizations or whatever, is there any way we can put anything in there for recovery without barriers that they can?
I believe not at this time. They'll have to go through the application process for next year. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So all these people went through the application process?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's online for them? Or how do they get that? Just come see you or?
Oh, yeah, they can reach out to the administration and let them know when it opens again. It's publicly advertised. But they can also reach out to us and let us know that it.
Did anyone else have any questions or concerns on this resolution?
So the Upper Darby Library, they can,
Yeah.
I don't remember the specifics, but usually allocations are made based on the request of the organization. But I think they had a specific purpose in mind.
And then they also had the $50,000 for the touchless bathrooms.
Right.
And their budget, they're in our regular budget and they have a lot in the capital budget too.
okay,
So, the CDBG funds have to be used in the low to mod areas, which are we're still working off the 2010 map.
right,
And I'm not sure that all of our libraries are in there. The Primus Library is not in the CDBG area, for instance, I'm just saying.
Right.
So that's something else to remember. And this is nothing to do with the recovery funds either. This is totally separate.
okay, thank you.
Right, because it's Sellers and the Bywood Library that are, you know what? I don't even know if Sellers is on it. The Municipal Library in Bywood definitely is. Sellers, I have to check them out again. Okay. So,
Thank you.
welcome. Anyone else? Okay, can we get a motion to approve resolution 35?
Blackwell.
Blackwell, moving in, Blackwell. And I heard. All right. Some Blackwell. Great. So any other questions or concerns on this resolution? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say your name. Ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, so next up, we have an introduction of ordinance number 3101. Solicitor Kilkenny, take it away.
Thank you very much. This would actually be a zoning amendment ordinance. So now therefore it's hereby enacted by Upper Darby Township Council that Upper Darby Township Council of Delaware County hereby signifies its intention and desire to organize a planning commission under the provisions of Article 3 of the MPC or Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code. The planning commission shall consist of 5 members with 2 alternates, all of whom shall be citizens of Darby Township. It specifies their term of office. It talks about the appointment of members, which is consistent with our administrative code. It talks about the duties of the planning commission. The planning commission shall, at the request of the mayor, have the power and shall be required to prepare the comprehensive plan for the development of the township as set forth in the MPC and presented for the consideration of council. Planning commission shall keep and maintain all files of its actions, all records and files of the planning commission shall be in L&I's inspection. The planning commission, at the request of the mayor, shall 1, make recommendations to the governing body concerning the adoption or amendment of the official map, prepare and present to township council a zoning ordinance and make recommendations to township council on proposed amendments to it. 3, prepare, recommend, and administer all saldo and plan residential development regulations. 4, prepare and present to township council a building code and housing code and make recommendations concerning amendments thereto. 5, to do such other acts to make studies as will be necessary to fulfill the duties and obligations imposed by UBC. 6, prepare and present to township council an environmental study. 7, submit to the mayor his or her designee recommendations for township capital improvement plans. 8, present and prepare and present to township council a water survey. 9, promote public interest in and understanding of comprehensive planning. 10, make recommendations to the government, civic, and private agencies and individuals to the effectiveness of the proposals of such agencies and individuals. 11, hold public hearings and meetings. 12, present testimony before any board. 13, require any other departments and agencies of the township such available information as relates to the work of the planning agency. 14, in the performance of its functions, enter on any land to make examinations and land surveys. 15, prepare and present to the governing body a study regarding the feasibility and practicability of renewable energy sources. 16, review the zoning ordinance, saldo, ordinance, official map, provisions for planned residential development, and edit such ordinance and regulations governing the development of land. No less frequently than produce a comprehensive plan. Section 4, the planning commission will make itself consent to the mayor, except and utilize any funds, personnel, other assistance made available by the county, the commonwealth, the federal government, or any agency or private sources. Enacted and ordained in council chambers. This will just be the beginning of the process. There will have to be a motion to introduce this and advertise. There would have to be because it's a zoning amendment, there will be a public hearing on this eventually. This is planning agencies or for the MPC. In Delaware County, a lot of municipalities rely on the county planning department. And a lot of other jurisdictions, people stand up their own planning commission. Their planning commission, remember, is an advisory body. You ultimately make the decisions, but they provide an invaluable resource for screening and helping improve development projects and a lot of your saldo and zoning amendment ordinances.
Great. So just to clarify, when you say, so will the public hearing that we have for this ordinance on August 18th count as that public hearing, or does there need to be a different public?
There might have to be a different date. Let me check that. I'm pretty sure for the MPC, it's going to take a little longer, but I will verify.
Okay, so
But we'll introduce this, so.
right, we're introducing it and,
But I'll check. That timing sounds too quick for me off the top of my head, but I will verify.
okay, so, all right, great. So I just wanted to verify that. Okay. Okay, great. So, yeah, do council have any questions or concerns? I see Councilman Bonnet. Go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Solicitor, you suggested that, or said that this is part of the zoning ordinance?
No, it's treated as a zoning amendment. The public process. So I think it requires 2 advertisements.
Yeah, okay, that's where I was going to go with.
That's why I was a little skeptical of timing.
Right, that's where I was going. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so it might end up on our
September agenda. Yeah, I'll verify that in the MPC. I'm pretty sure I'm right, but I'm all wrong. So I'll check.
Okay, so we'll just, if we do move it forward to advertise, we'll just verify the dates on it. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions or concerns?
Can we do a motion tonight?
We are, we will, we're not there yet. So I just, for the committee part of the meeting, I want to just make sure everybody's comfortable with the wording, because if we're going to be making changes to the wording, we need to make it now before the motion to advertise and introduce, because then it messes up our advertisement realm if we have to then change it all and then advertise, go through all the advertising again, which is very costly to our advertising budget. So I'd like to make any changes we need to make to it now before it's officially introduced. Does that make sense? Okay, so that being said, does anyone have any wording changes that you'd like to be made to this ordinance before we do the formal introduction? Seeing none.
Okay, yeah, actually, I know.
You do, okay,
I'm sorry.
thank you,
Mayor,
Mayor.
be recognized. Yeah, is this, section 2, section 2. It says the planning commission shall consist of 5, 2 alternates, all of whom shall be residents of Upper Darby Township.
I would love residents.
Okay.
If that's okay. Thank you, that was the one I had to read. So I appreciate that. Anything else there? Anyone else? Okay. Being none, can we get a motion to introduce and advertise ordinance number 3103 as amended? Can we get that motion?
I'd like to make a motion.
3101, what did I say? Oh, sorry, 3101, sorry, my bad. So it was like a tie between Tunis and.
I was gonna work.
So then it was Blackwell.
Sorry.
That's what I said.
Blackwell second. Sorry. When introduced. Okay. Any questions or concerns on the introduction and advertisement of 3103 as amended? Seeing none, all, it's an ordinance, so roll call. Volume is still, gotta turn your mic on.
Councilman Sanders,
Yes.
Councilman Diaz, Councilor Silver,
Yes.
Councilor Gregor,
Yes.
Councilor Horn,
Yes.
Councilor Burton, you, Councilor Siddiq,
Yes.
Councilor Morales,
Yes.
Councilor Leonard,
Yes.
Councilor Wagner, excuse, and Councilor President.
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So,
Two is here.
great, and so we will get clarification on the date in the near future. All right, so next up, we have inspection or ordinance number 3102. So sir, can you give us a brief on this?
Cool. Ordinance of Upper Darby Township, Delaware County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, amending the vacant property registration, repealing all ordinance and parts thereof, and consisting herewith and providing severability. Now therefore be enacted and ordained by Upper Darby Township Council, it is hereby enacted in the authority of such as follows. Section 1, definitions. The applicable words, terms, and phrases when used in this part shall the meanings described in this section, except when the context clearly indicates a different meaning. Applicable codes included but not limited to the Upper Darby Township's codified ordinances, enforcement officer, any law enforcement officer, building official, zoning inspector, code enforcement officer, fire inspector, or other person authorized by the township to enforce the applicable codes, evidence of vacancy, any condition that on its own or combined with other conditions present to lead a reasonable person to believe that the property is vacant, and a small description. Foreclose real property, any real property located in the township that is in default on a mortgage, that has a lit pendants filed against it and by the mortgage holding a mortgage on the property is subject to ongoing foreclosure action by the mortgagee. Foreclosure and foreclosure action, the legal process by which the mortgagee or the lien holder terminates or attempts to terminate property owner's equitable right of redemption. Mortgagee, the creditor, including but not limited to trustees, mortgage servicing companies, lenders in a mortgage agreement, owner, and every person, entity, or mortgagee, property manager, any party designated by the owner is responsible for inspecting, maintaining, and securing real property, any residential or commercial land and or building, leasehold improvements, registerable property, any property located in the township, whether vacant or occupied, as encumbered by a mortgage subject to an ongoing proposer action by the mortgagee or trustee. Registry, a web-based electronic database of searchable real property records. Semi-annual registration, 6 months from the date of the first action that required registration. Utilities and services, any utility and or service that is essential for the building to be habitable and a performance service necessary to comply with all township codes is included, but it's not limited to electric, gas, water, sewer, lawn maintenance, pool maintenance, and snow removal, vacant, any parcel of land in the township that contains any building or structure that is not lawfully occupied. 5, vacant property, owner and owner of any building or structure that is not legally occupied. Talks about the establishment of registry. It talks about registration of foreclosed real property. Talks about inspection and registration of real property that is not subject to a mortgage in foreclosure. It talks about the fees. It talks about enforcement or civil penalties. It talks about maintenance requirements, inspections and violations. Talks about the effective date, but this essentially establishes a registry for vacant properties in Upper Darby Township to hopefully better enforce code enforcement and property maintenance on such property.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions or concerns on this ordinance from council? Councilman Chivas?
Yeah, no concerns. I just want to applaud the administration for bringing this forward. This ordinance, I believe, could really help solve an ongoing issue across the township where we have many vacant properties. I've even got called out twice this week to go to some properties in my district, and neighbors are concerned because a vacant property does really affect quality of life. Right? Someone not taking their property, overgrowing trees, or people not being there could affect their neighbors. So I think this helps move our township forward in this issue. I would ask if we could really push this so we can vote on the next meeting.
Any other questions or concerns? Okay, seeing Mayor, you all good? Okay. So seeing none, can we get a motion to introduce and advertise ordinance 3102?
Like to make a motion?
Seconded. Susie. Okay, roll call.
Councilor Tunis,
Yes.
Councilor Phillips, yes. Councilor Silva,
Yes.
Councilor Bagwell,
Yes.
Councilor Glenn,
Yes.
Councilor Burke is excused, Councilor Siddiq,
Yes.
Councilor Farrell,
Yes.
Councilor Barnett,
Yes.
Councilor Wagner is excused, and Council President Smith.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so Councilman Quinn, now you can take it away. Sorry about that. That was my bad.
Does anybody else on the committee have anything for this body? Anybody in the administration? Seeing none, we'll move on.
So, next up, we have Public Health and Environmental Affairs Committee, co-chairs Kenneth Senior and Silva, members Phillips and Sadiq. And this is where we have resolution 25-21. And this is the resolution that will be voted on August 18th and not this evening. So Solicitor, can you give us a brief on this resolution?
Sure. It's a long one, but I'll do my best. The Pennsylvania Department, DEP reported that 2020 Delaware County sent 380,123,000 tons of waste, which includes trash from Upper Darby Township, to burn in the Vacant Delaware Valley Trash Incinerator located in the city of Chester. Whereas the Vacant incinerator burns up to 3,510 tons of waste each day, making it the largest incinerator in the country and one of the largest in the world, whereas the Vacant incinerator is #1 in Delaware County for toxic mercury emissions and the county's industrial source of nitrogen oxide pollution. Whereas nitrogen oxide pollution has been linked to asthma attacks, the childhood asthma hospitalization rate in Delaware County is 22% above the state average, and the rate in Chester City, where the Vacant incinerator is located, is nearly 3 times the state average. Whereas according to EPA, 42% of greenhouse gases produced in the country are from our management of materials and the provision of goods and food. Much of it can be reduced by sound local policies relating to how we manage consumption and discard of materials. Whereas many environmental problems, namely the production of greenhouse gases, are caused by waste and inefficiency caused by how we produce, distribute, and consume products. As a result, the Township Council of Upper Darby finds that zero waste is an important policy goal for the sake of health, environmental justice, stable climate, job creation, and a sustainable economy for the residents of Upper Darby Township. Whereas the Zero Waste Alliance defines zero waste as the conservation of all resources by means of responsible production, consumption, reuse, and recovery of products, packing and materials without burning, and with no discharges to land, water, or air, threatening the environment or human health. Whereas waste incineration, waste of fuel schemes, and waste deregulation are considered unacceptable in a zero waste system. Whereas zero waste provides a zero waste hierarchy from highest to lowest priority, governed by seeking the highest and best use of materials, rethink, redesign, reduce, reuse, recycle, compost, material recovery, biological treatment, and stabilize landfilling. Whereas waste incineration is the most expensive, including way to manage waste or to make energy. To make the same amount of energy, trash incineration is more polluting than burning coal. Per ton of waste disposed, incineration is more harmful than directly using landfills and releases more greenhouse acid gases, nitrogen oxides, and matter and toxic pollution, even if extensive trucking is needed to reach landfills. Whereas incineration does not burn waste into energy and does not avoid landfills. For every 100 tons burned, about 30 tons become toxic ash and must be landfilled, resulting in a smaller but more toxic landfill. The other 70 tons become air pollution spread across Delaware County and beyond. Whereas Vacant Delaware County has the fewest air pollution controls of any toxic incinerator in the nation and lacks any controls for nitrogen oxide or for highly toxic mercury and dioxins. Where studies of communities living near trash incinerators have shown many elevated cancers, as well as respiratory and heart diseases, whereas only 1.8 of the waste burned in Chester comes from Chester City, 31% from Philadelphia, and 29% from the rest of Delaware County. And almost all of the rest of it is from out of state, mainly New York City and New Jersey. Whereas the toxic ash produced fills up Delaware County Solid Waste Authority's Rolling Hills landfill in Berks County, whereas the county landfill would last longer and be less toxic if the county stopped importing trash from 7 states. Whereas for at least 3 decades, Pennsylvania has been the largest importer of trash, whereas a well-established zero waste strategy such as save as you throw and curbside composting collection can quickly cut waste 60% or more. Whereas Delaware County's current contract with Vacant runs through April 30th, 2022, and requires that the county provide a minimum of 300,000 tons of waste per year. Therefore, be it resolved by Township Council of Upper Darby Township that the Township Council formally urges Delaware County Council and Delaware Solid Waste Authority to ensure that the county no longer incinerates its waste after the current Vacant incineration contract expires. Be Be it further resolved that the Township Council requests that Delaware County Council, Delaware County Solid Waste Authority, in collaboration with the City Council of the City of Chester, evaluate any decrease in the home community's fee to pay by Covanta to the City of Chester, and close the gap on the authority's waste disposal fee or via offsetting economic development measure. Be it further resolved that the Township Council of Upper Darby formally urges Delaware County to retain zero waste experts to develop a county-wide zero waste plan. Adopt and resolve the state council chambers.
Great, thank you. So just to clarify, this resolution will be voted on the August 18th meeting. Are there any questions or concerns from council on this resolution? All right. Councilman Silva, did you want to talk a little bit about this? You spent a lot of time with it in your committee.
Yes, thank you. Actually, the entire committee has been really committed to this, and I want to thank the residents too that have brought this to our attention. This is an important concern, and it is something that I feel like that this administration also agrees with, that trying to reduce the amount of waste created in this township is a long-term goal, and provided that goal is successful, something like this contract will require to make a certain amount of waste could work against that. Ultimately, too, we also don't want to. I personally work next to the incinerator plant, so it is. I mean, so I see the impact that it has on that community, and I also don't want to have any part of contributing to that if I could. And I know that all the other fellow members of the committee, I believe that fellow members of the committee feel the same. So it's something that we're hoping it's a resolution. So it's something that, we'd just like to get our opinion out on this matter, and we would like to, make our voices heard, and also the voices of the residents heard that have spoke up continuously against this current situation.
Great, thank you. Any other council members? I just wanted to thank Mayor Pepper for the work she's been doing since taking office to reduce our waste as much as possible, with the Christmas tree collection being extended more than just 1 week, the yard waste collection being a 6 to 7 month process, April through November. And for all the residents who put out their Christmas trees and put out yard waste on a regular basis, you're definitely helping us to reduce the amount of trash that is going into the incinerator. And also within the Public Health Committee and with Mayor Pepper, we've discussed the concept on, some of the next steps, which I also discussed with Ms. Helm, and other members of the Zero Waste Coalition. And one of the things that we hope to be able to do at some point in the future is some form of composting program, is one of the things that's on the list of something for us to do in some way or another throughout the township. So that's something that will also help to reduce the waste. And anything that residents can do to reduce their waste is essential. And there's so many different things that we can do. So I look forward to the educational programs that our Economic Advisory Commission is going to host, because I know they will definitely discuss a lot of those things as well. So I greatly appreciate everyone, and specifically Mayor Pepper for bringing this resolution to me, earlier in the row. So
I get what it was.
it was December of something, and I just, yes, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Awesome. All right, so at this point in time,
Matt,
go
I
ahead,
do have a
Don,
question.
Councilman
Sure, thank you.
Annette. Go ahead.
I am certainly in favor of provision here that we encourage county council and the county solid waste authority to eliminate burning of waste. And I think that's a well worthwhile action to be taken. So I don't dispute that at all. And I will vote in favor of this the introduction. But I do have a question, and maybe our mayor can answer this, because you do sit on the solid waste authority. If you know the answer at this point, there is there's another provision here that says that if in fact Covanta is no longer in business, is no longer paying some level of compensation to the city of Chester, that there be that gap of revenue, I assume, will be covered. Do we know how that will be covered? I know it says from fees, but there's fees, I suppose, that all communities will pay. Is that correct?
Well, in general, in a couple months, it's not going to be Covanta anymore because they've been sold to a Scandinavian firm. I think that's this is a resolution, so it's, it's non-binding. I mean, the discussion about how Chester's fees will be covered when and if that facility actually closes, is.
Well, my question is, do I correctly understand that the intent is to make up for the lost revenue that the city of Chester will lose as a result of not having this activity, this Covanta, or the entity that's purchasing Covanta in operation in the city, and that they currently pay fees to the city?
Well, I think, so I'm on the authority board. We meet twice a month.
Right.
And I think in practicality, what will happen if Delaware County decides no longer to take their trash to that facility,
right,
they will find other customers. That's my personal
So in
opinion.
other words, they will continue to operate?
We can't shut them down, they're private business.
Okay, we could just take our business.
We can take our
county
business
away
elsewhere,
from
and that's
Okay.
something that we're discussing.
Okay, so it's very likely, therefore, that the city of Chester won't lose them as a revenue source.
That's a very strong possibility.
Okay, very good. That answers my question.
Okay, any other questions or concerns? Great, so, Councilman Silva, can you poll your committee on whether or not they feel comfortable with this moving on to the next meeting?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, do the other members of this committee, are you guys ready to move this forward?
Yes.
Yes.
And Councilman City? Okay, all right, well, I believe we are ready.
Great, thank you. So we will move this on to the next meeting. Great, so next up, we have Municipal Services Licensing and Public Works Committee.
Another.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so
Yes.
does anyone in
All right,
the public health
go ahead.
committee have anything to bring forward? Does any member of council have anything to bring forward?
Yeah, I just would look, and actually this may be a solicitor question. I know that Solicitor Richardson's been working on the, TNR, ordinance. If there's any way that we can get it sent to public health so that we would love to be able to. Try and move it forward.
I'll email Ms. Richardson as we speak and ask her to,
Fabulous, you're right.
Is anyone else on, anyone in administration? Thank you.
Okay, great, sorry. So next up is Municipal Services and Licensing and Public Works Committee co-chairs Sadiq and Tunis Jr., members Wagner and Burke. Take it away, gentlemen.
I'm going up.
Oh, yes, you're right. And the introduction, or the ordinance number 30, sorry, I do have a migraine, that's why I'm kind of all over the place. Ordinance number 3103, Solicitor Kilkenny, can you give us a brief on this ordinance?
Sure, this is the fee ordinance. So everything, with the exception of one fee, is currently an adopted fee in Upper Darby Township via other ordinances. So I want to be very clear with that. So we made several months ago, I made a suggestion that we consolidate our fee ordinances in one ordinance, so it's kind of there in one place. So everyone understands what it is, the public understands where it is, so it's not all over the place. And so what happened is because it covered multiple disciplines within a township, it went to various committees It took several months for it to come back and be consolidated back in this ordinance. Ms. Richardson and Mr. McSween worked extensively on this ordinance. I know Ms. Richardson's not here tonight, but Mr. McSween is. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is highlight some of the sections. Fees related to streets and right-of-ways. There are permit fees for opening and excavations, except those permit fees. It sets the sewer connection fees. It sets construction or repairs of sidewalks. It sets both permit fees for the inspection and permits for grading locations of new curbs or sidewalks. It sets building permit fees. It sets and deals with, for new residential dwellings, repairs, roofs and siding, both for residential, commercial, deals with solar panels, plumbing, heating and air conditioning, dumpsters, new commercial, industrial, multi-family hotels and other buildings previously not covered, use and occupancy permits, electrical permits, double permit fee, trailers, it sets the fee for appeal of any decision under the Pennsylvania Uniform Construction Code. It deals with multiple municipal buildings, and fire stations, and saying they're exempt from the fees, but the owner is still required to apply for a permit. It deals with resale, refinancing, certificate fees for the sale of property for residential and commercial. It deals with contractor licenses and renewals. It deals with zoning. It deals with subdivision and land development. It deals with various miscellaneous zoning fees, such as we talked about the planning commission working on a zoning map, what that will cost if you want to come in and get it. Deals with the zoning hearing board fee schedule, and sets what it is for signs, what it is for subdivisions and the various units. It sets for the abatement of real property and various fees such as backhoes, pickup trucks, bucket trucks, chippers and such. Deals with fire safety inspections and the fees for that. It deals with food licenses and inspections. And it deals with the annual rental license applications. Section 10 and deals with the different property license applications. And then various miscellaneous fees such as, alarms that go off and such, carnivals, amusements, vendor licenses. There's a repealer clause, there's a severability clause. As I've stated previously, and it's the law in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, any fee that a municipality charges has to approximate the cost of implementation of that fee, or else it's an illegal tax under the Pennsylvania Constitution. So on a yearly basis, the administration, good practice, and has done this previously and did it along with this ordinance, looked at these fees to make sure that they approximate the cost of implementation and should do so on an annual basis. So this is the ordinance that we have before you. I would suggest if you have any technical questions on that fee, that you go ahead and give that to Mr. McSween, as he may have a little more knowledge than me.
Great, thank you very much. Does any council members have any questions and concerns over this ordinance? I know we all spent a lot of time on it. Committees have met since February, multiple times discussing different sections of it. So just want to make sure. Councilor Tunis?
Yeah, I just want to, on behalf of the chairman, Sadiq, and I just want to thank the entire council for coming together to bring this forward. Also, I'd like to thank Council President Wentz for a way for us to comment prior to the meeting and get our questions answered. So I believe this has all of our input. So I think we should push this forward.
Great, thank you. Anyone else have any questions or concerns?
Yeah, I do. I just like to say this has been a big learning experience. I know for me, and I'd like to thank Director McSween for his guidance and kind of a lot of these things are in here because they're based on the property maintenance code. They have to be in here. They have to be worded a lot of the way they are. If we were to be asking, I mean, that's the body that governs the way he has to operate. And were we to change some of these provisions, some of the ways that we originally thought possible, we would be asking him basically to be in violation of what his job is. So I want to thank him for his help and thank everybody for all the time we spent on this. And I know fees, it's not something anybody likes to hear, but at the same time too, it's an important job and I'm glad we did it. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, yes, I want to, Ritter also mentioned, LNI Director McSween, thank you so much for meeting with our committees, and all your hard work and breaking it down for us. So that we all understood. And also Solicitor Richardson, I know she's not here, but she was amazing and she really helped guide us through everything. And she ended up being the keeper of all the different questions and concerns and the answers and really helped us bring it all together. After we went through and broke it all down into all these separate parts, she's the one who really consolidated them together, and worked directly with, Mr. McSween to make sure it all, all of our concerns were addressed. And I greatly appreciate the new form of the ordinance. So we just wanted to thank you. Awesome. Anyone else have any Councilman Siddiq?
Actually, this ordinance was due long time before, and I'm also thanking the committee personnel as well as all the council members, and special thanks to our LNI chief, Mr. McSween, to bring on this ordinance. And I will request to our council members that to me, many residents come and asking on this question, why is now? So we have to explain them why, and it is necessary for this on this fee, because our residents don't know much about all this fee and all these things. So please explain them with the intelligence. And thank you, Mr. McSween, for bringing up this.
Anyone else? Councilman Burnett?
Thank you. Mr. McSween, just a question on a present fee for residential special exception variances. Variances and special exceptions, excuse me. What are we charging today for residential before this ordinance? In this ordinance, we are suggesting that if adopted, the cost for a variance or a special exception for a residential property would be $550. What is it currently?
It's currently $550.
It is currently, thank you.
Anything else?
That's my only question.
Okay. And so, right, and just to clarify, Solicitor and Mr. McSween, that it's really about taking what your like all the fees are, everything that you're basically already doing and putting in. This ordinance allows us to put it in one document so that we can see what all the fees are.
Yeah.
Great. I just wanted to clarify that we weren't.
Nothing is new here. It's a
Right.
transparency and consolidation.
Right.
Almost like a codification of fees.
Right. Okay, cool. Just wanted to clarify that. Okay. Great. Anything else? Anyone? All right. Thank you all. You guys brought. So we are going to need a motion to introduce and advertise ordinance number 3103.
I'd like to make a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, great. Can we get any questions or concerns on the advertisement of the ordinance 3103? Seeing none, can we get a roll call?
Counselor Tunis,
Yes.
Counselor Phillips, Counselor Silver,
Yeah.
Counselor Blackwell,
Yes.
Counselor Glenn,
Yes.
Council Burns is excused. Council Sadiq.
Yes.
Council Varalia.
Yes.
Council Barnett.
Yes.
Council Wagner is excused. And Council President Williams.
Yes. Great. So this is moving on. The next meeting. Great. So, Councilman Siddiq or Dennis, would you like to continue with your report of municipal service?
Yeah, is there any concerns from anyone on the committee? Anyone from council?
I have, not on this, but on something else for your
Yeah.
committee. So, with the mowing of the lawns, they said township owns that property. Can we have that? I've known and I've been in touch with Alexis and we're putting in requests for Westbrook Park, them islands. It's like every 2 weeks I'm calling to have that grass cut. Can it be done automatically every week? I shouldn't have to have the residents keep calling me, or I shouldn't have to pay somebody to go out and cut that island when it's the township property. We should be maintaining it. And also the 2 signs that are there, welcome to Westbrook Park, they still have Upper Darby Mayor Shea is now the mayor of there that's on there. That all needs to be fixed. They need to be painted and updated. I don't know who took all the signs off there that from before, but they have John Rankin on one side and Mayor Shea on the other.
Yeah, I definitely think that we should take a look at not including that signage, but signage we've been doing in some of my district. I think we need to do the same in Second and across the districts. As far as the grass cutting, I believe that that's something township wide. I just would tell you, I'm someone that calls our office too. I think that we just, as a committee, needs to find a way that we could be an assistance to the administration.
I would like to add in with that. Anywhere we have a sign, say, welcome to Upper Derby, should be our mayor's name there. Many places I don't see the name,
I think our mayor has a different opinion on that.
should be name over there.
I believe it was he wanted to get the
I was
motto.
gonna say, when we get to it, because we're still watching. I know it's like, we're in the mask again, but we're still looking at revenues. And we don't know, we're still working. We're looking to see what the revenue stream is. So we haven't been spending money on shirts for all of us, right? I don't have any mayor shirts. The signs are the way they are. But when we do, our branding and all this kind of thing, which will be coming up when we feel that it's the right time, it's not gonna have my name on it. It's gonna just say, we'll say Up Darby, the world in one place. That's the motto.
Well,
That's what I want. So
when we painted the name, previous mayor, and then not good, we have to evaluate our township,
we'll fix them. It's just not a top priority right now. But thank you.
It looks good though, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Councilman Tunis?
Yeah, is there anyone else on council that have any concerns with the administration? And I will be sending out an email to discuss some of the things that our fellow council members brought forward to me.
Great, thank you. So next up, we have Law and Government and Rules and Procedures Committee, co-chairs Phillips and Silva, members Sadiq and Blackwell. Go ahead.
Anyone from Law and Government and Rules and Procedure Committee, anything to discuss?
Can you give us a brief, you just need to met, right?
Yeah. Council name. I just.
We had a meeting and the meeting just discussed, the timing regarding our meetings and that the timing was perhaps, so the meetings took more than some people didn't want to meet after 11:30. That was the basis of the meeting, that the meetings were too long.
You mean the council meeting?
The council meeting.
Sometimes, yeah, too long. Yes, whenever we have, if we have too many ordinances in one meeting, it can elongate our meeting because of the public hearings. But some public hearings for ordinance is really short, right? And then our discussion as well.
Right, so the discussion was based on that, and perhaps we should have 3 resolutions on 3 different topics of ordinance. And we discussed that perhaps that wouldn't be feasible because of the simple fact that some meetings may take longer than others. So does anybody else want to weigh in on that?
Well, I mean, we have talked about this earlier, and we tried our very best to not have more than 3 ordinance in any one meeting. Sometimes it's not possible, but we try to have, 3 being the top and 2 is better, but, so we can pay a little more attention to that, to try and make sure we don't go above 3 in any given meeting.
Thank you
For that. Yes, I wouldn't want to, I mean, I understand, I agree that the length of the meetings can be tiresome. But I personally do not want to take away from this council having an opportunity to have a conversation on it, because I feel that in many situations, we have some really great conversations and every council member has the opportunity to add wording, and even the mayor as well, to make our ordinances and resolutions the best they possibly can. And I really hate to take away from that. I think we've had some really great productive meetings and I value your opinion and I appreciate all that you do, but I will do my best to consolidate, but then also, so that's part of the, so.
Also what?
Sorry, yes, well, so and then that's where my migraine comes in. That's where the consolidation of the public forum in the beginning, which is why once a speaker has completed their time, if ideally we don't have to have full-blown conversations with them, I would rather meet with them separately outside of the meeting. And by doing that, it reduces the amount of time we're spending talking at the meeting and lengthening the time, right? So that we can have a more consolidated conversation with a resident who's brought up a conservative issue, then we can do that, outside of the council meeting, which will help to reduce the time. So that was the reason for my conversation with Councilman Bonnet earlier. I think he has some really great questions for them. I just think that we can have that conversation on a different day and bring it back to council at a later time.
And obviously, we're not going to have that meeting because the folks have left.
Right, we'll have it a different day.
Right. I think that would be very important. We have volunteers that are willing to participate and work with us. I had a long conversation with them before the meeting, and I think it'd be wise for us to take advantage of it. And I think that we can work together. We can help them understand the process that we go through in supporting dealing with the homeless. And I think that as a result of incorporating them in a dialogue, I think they will become very satisfied. We will have the advantage of taking advantage of their services, their volunteer services.
Yes, there are a lot of great groups that have been helping in that area, and I think it's a very important coalition for us, for sure.
Right. And by the way, that particular group is not only involved with the homeless, they're involved with dealing with those who violate the use of drugs, and they find a placement for drug abusers when they are in emergency or crisis situations. So they're very, very helpful in many respects, and I think we can find a way of working together with them.
And they
with
really
us.
do a really good job. They really do help a lot of people. I've been down there personally, seen what they do, and they really go above and beyond. With long hours down there.
And they're available around the clock, by the way.
I know, I'm on that.
Yeah.
Right. So Recovery Without Barriers does a lot, and Killer Made Medicine is going down there on a regular basis. There are other groups within that spoke here this evening that have also been going down. So I think maybe it's because our public health committee has talked about forming a coalition, working with groups that are helping the township helping the homeless within our township. So that is something that has been discussed, and so it just means we gotta take it out of discussion and make it into action.
Right, we just need to connect, that's right.
Yep, connect the dots.
I'm sorry.
And I think, I'm sorry, I think sometimes, I'm sorry, CEO, I think sometimes, just my opinion, I think sometimes people don't realize what's being done behind the scenes, because we see things that are happening, it's stuff that's being done behind the scenes, right? Just because you can't touch it or feel it, doesn't mean that stuff is not happening. I just want to say that, right? Because, in my work full time, I work with the unhoused, every single day. I work with substance abuse users every single day. But I don't go out on the street, but I'm behind the scenes, but, I work with that population. So, I don't think it's, I don't think it's fair to say that, that it's not other people that's not working. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. And I know recovery without barriers to great work. I'm not taking anything away from it, and I believe that we probably can work with them to do greater work. That's all.
CAO?
Yeah, sure. Just by way of very quick clarification, I want council to be aware. The administration is very well aware of recovery without barriers. One of the meetings, at least one of the meetings that we convened with the county, recovery without barriers participated in. They've also participated in meetings that we convened with the Crozier Street outreach team. Like the idea that they are unknown or have not participated or been invited to participate is an idea without foundations. And so I just wanted to make sure the council understood that they have already been included in the process and they're very well known to the initiative.
Yeah, and I certainly agree with Councilwoman Phillips, what you said, that they may not be aware, or many people are, or probably most people are not aware what happens behind the scenes, and a lot does happen behind the scenes. And I just think that communication is the root of, solving that uncertainty and those questions. And I think that's why if we can involve them, I think that
I totally
will go
agree.
a long way.
Totally agree.
Councilman Van Ness, I hate to say it, but you need to have your mask on.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I'd like to throw in something here too. I'm also a member of St. Vincent de Paul. We go to assist many of the individuals that need food and shelter. And we used to use the one building that's down the Township line, and it's been closed now because they just simply were violating the rules.
Is that the hotel?
Yes. And there are plenty of people who are homeless throughout this township, plus individuals who come into this township from Philadelphia and whatever. But homeless people still need to have a place to go. They still need to have certain care.
We agree. Yeah, we agree.
We're all on the same page.
Yes, I think we're all, it sounds like we're all on the same page, and I agree with you, Councilor Barnett. I think one of the issues is that there is it sounds like there is not a lot of communication, and I think people are talking, but we're not talking to each other.
So I had something too. So Mr. McIntyre, you had your group down there too.
Justice.
Any way that you guys can like, coordinate that with them and maybe work together to be more
Yeah, we partnered on a couple of events so far.
perfect? Thank you.
Yeah.
So yes, so when I was speaking of coalition building, they're part of the list. Something.
Yes, thank you. As much as I appreciate this conversation, I don't, it's not lost on me. I guess the irony, we were discussing, the meeting that we had from Law and Government was like what to do about curbing the length of the meeting. And one of the issues that I think that, because, I mean, we could say, oh, it's the all the ordinances, it's this, it's that. But a lot of times it isn't. a lot of times it's there. It is this
You're
kind of
correct.
trajectory.
You're right. I agree with you.
Yeah. So this is,
Okay, so.
but this is either new or old business. This is like, there's a more appropriate place for this.
Right.
Yeah, so we do have a list of suggestions. I'll make sure that we email them to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Right, well, and that's for the free thinking, the open discussion on problem solving. And that was a problem solving, conversation. And I appreciate everyone's input on it, but I do, appreciate Councilman Silva bringing us back to the reality of case in point. So, thank you.
I just have a question. Because this happens to me every meeting, right? Who has the floor?
Well, see, you're supposed to be acknowledged by me.
Yeah,
So I've been trying to specifically say Councilman Barnett, Councilman Tunis, but when there's suddenly a free-form conversation that what just happened, that you don't wait for me to acknowledge you and you take the mic and you just start speaking, that's when you're technically out of order. But because it was a constructive conversation, I didn't end that it's the committee meeting, the workshop meeting. It's a little bit more relaxed than in a normal scenario than on the third Wednesday of the month when we are there for the council meeting and we're more specific and more rigid on following Robert's Rules of Order than we are necessarily in the committee meeting. And that is where that is. So technically you have to, part of it is when we were on Zoom, you guys raised your hand, right? And I would call on you to speak. Before we went to Zoom, we did a visual aid of if you wanted to speak, you kind of leaned into your mic. I was checking for you or you gave me a hand signal and I would call on you. So I think we're just a little bit out of practice of being in person coming from the Zoom room. We just got to get back into the swing of it.
Yeah, just ask for consistency because sometimes I have my hand up.
I was trying to call on you, but other people were cutting in because they weren't, you were following and others weren't. So, I can go to being very rigid. I apologize that I was not. It's
all good.
We had a good conversation.
Okay, Councilman, do you have a question?
No, it's fine.
Okay. So is line government finished? Are we finished?
Should we hold a council or?
Yeah, did you guys have anything else to say? Because I think we were just talking about that. Are you guys finished?
Oh, no, I discussed that with the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So does, anyone from council have anything else that they want to add? Seeing none, I think that concludes our report.
Great. So next up, we have Public Safety Committee, co-chairs Blackwell and Burke. Members are Tunis Jr. and Silva. Please take away, Ms. Blackwell.
Does anybody in the committee have anything to report?
You guys did have a meeting recently, didn't you? The tour, or did we talk about it last night, the tour of the crosswalks and the parks?
We discussed that in the same.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Okay.
Does anybody on council have anything to report? Yes. Yes, council.
Which one, Mayor? Right.
Okay, me first, Mr. I have a little bit concern about public safetyness in 500 block of back alley 500 block of wood tree. I know this is a 911 call, but it is not all the time 911 call. Like whole block back alley, most of the day there's like a 25, 30 young kids and around 25, 30 that kind of man they are sitting and making all kind of things over there. The police know about it. So I get so many calls from the resident around there to do something. They say we call police come and report it, they go and come back. As soon as police left, they come back again into the same thing almost every single day, and weekend worse. Resident cannot even sleep. They cannot come out. All this smoking and all this thing, bad smell around there is very hard to positive in there. So I think I'm asking if there's anything rather than call police and we can do anything over there.
We can review it, submit it, and see what happens.
What's the address?
500 500 block of Woodcliff, Vacant. Vacant of Millbank and Woodcliff. Next to Stonehurst School, behind the Stonehurst Elementary School.
Yeah, no, that's okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Frye?
I do. I have a petition from the residents of Wesley Drive and Seven Oaks for a stop sign at the corner of Wesley. It's a one-way street coming down. There's no stop sign, so they just go right around. So the neighbors have a petition here for a place to stop sign.
Okay, so you just give it to.
Have any of these, been submitted to the request line, just wondering if so we have a paper trail or something in writing?
That's, I don't know. I think they've called the police numerous times.
Councilman Siddiq, did any of the people you discussed it, did you call the request line on the concerns of the 500 block of Woodcliff?
I really call police and discuss them.
Right,
Not
but
the request line. I don't call the request line.
okay, but that's part of the problem. You need to call the request line. I mean, call 911 for sure, but in order for the township to have a record, we as council, if we come across anything that is, as we ask the residents to call or send an email to the request line, the same request is made of all council members. That if you come across anything that's not kosher, take a photo of it or video or whatever and send it to the request line so that it can be assigned to the appropriate department and you'll get a reference number. And that is something that we're supposed to do on anything. And then that way there is a tracking process and it can be resolved. There's a good chance that some things could be resolved before the next council meeting because you did it in the timely fashion that it had happened versus waiting until the council meeting to then bring it up. You know what I mean? So I need everyone to use the request line. When we're out and about or at at any point in time, that is the best way to get information to them. They're very quick, they respond, they make things happen, or if there's a problem, they let us know, okay? So, but that is our best course of action. So thank you, Councilman Blackwell, for asking that question.
Okay, does anybody on the administration have anything to report or have any questions or concerns?
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Just quick clarification. Please do not use the request line for any emergency call situation whatsoever. I mean, if you have a nuisance complaint, that's one thing, submit it to the request line. But if you have a 911 call, if you need to contact the police department and use 911, I just want to make sure emergency calls are not going with the request. I don't want to make it confusing, but I just want to make sure that emergency calls are not going with the request.
Right, of course, yeah, all emergency calls go to 911, but if it's kids are hanging out in a back alleyway and they're making a lot of noise, so there's 911, and then there's a general request that you can make to the township saying that there has been concerns about, saying that there are two directions you can go. If you, okay?
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you.
Okay, so this ends our report.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Finance and Appropriations Committee Co-Chairs Nguyen Jr. and Silva, members Blackwell and Burke. Take it away.
Does anybody on the committee have anything for this body? Anybody on council? Anybody on the Administration. Seeing none, hearing none, move on.
Great, thank you. Next up, we have Leisure Services Committee, co-chairs Tunis Jr. and Silva, members Bralia and Blackwell.
Do any members of Leisure Services have any thing to bring forward at this time? Do any members of council? Does anyone from the administration? Okay, hearing none, I believe that is our report. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have the Event Planning Committee, co-chairs Phillips and Blackwell, members Tunis Jr. and Silva. Take it away.
Anyone from the committee have anything to say? To report? No? Anyone from council? Yes.
I had a question. Summer is almost going on. If any restriction or anything we can happen in future, like yesterday we had our outdoor National Night Out. If a similar event happened in the township, I don't know what we have to do the variance. So any guideline will be or how the event committee thinking that? Should we host any like a large event outdoor or?
Yeah, I think it's evolving. Yes, there. It's evolving. We're seeing what's happening, right? What the numbers are. I mean, already I was thinking about the international festival. Are we really going to have it? You know, kind of thing. It's just a thought, but we're monitoring everything. We're trying to be proactive with our policies here, but I'm not sure it hasn't impacted maybe the permits that have been submitted already, but it's going to be what it is, which is just, we have to be flexible, we have to be quick on our feet, and we'll have to adjust. And we'll do our best to inform council about any big changes, certainly. And yeah.
So if anything don't get worse, then we are on schedule, like festival, we have on schedule, we're still on, right?
For now, yes.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question.
All right, Councilman Glenn? Yeah.
Things such as St. Pat's event that's already been requested and scheduled. I assume if there's any change, you'll let us know.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess more of a comment than a question, but I mean, us wearing masks today, that happened today, right? It's my understanding that change happened today. So I mean, up until then, it was like, you know, the CDC guideline is that you should wear masks when you're indoors. This obviously is, everything's kind of touch and go. It's sort of been kind of, I don't know, it's been like 2 years of this. You think you'd almost get used to it, but you know, yeah, right. So it's, but yeah, so I don't know. Hopefully, I mean, outdoors, I think the rules are a little more lenient, but at the same time too, you know, I mean, exercise caution. I mean, consider your family and your friends, and you know, keep that in mind. Urge your friends to get vaccinated. That would be super awesome. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? That concludes our report. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Next up, we have solicitor.
Thank you very much. Obviously, it's been a busy evening for my office with the various ordinances we did, the fee ordinance, and emphasized Ms. Richardson's heavy involvement with that, the vacant property ordinance, and the various resolutions. Also, too, for the last solicitor's report, my office did file the end of last week over 30 assessment appeals in Delaware County. So subject to anybody's questions, that concludes my report.
Great, thank you. So next up, we have old business. Anyone have any old business? Councilman Goode?
I have a question relative to some old business. What's the status of various speed humps, et cetera, planning and speed reductions?
We're trying to work methodically through the list, which is ever growing. Right now, first roundabout is about to be installed and they have begun on, St. Lawrence and Parkview. And we're getting through there, each of the streets is gonna get, I don't have it memorized off the top of my head, but, they're gonna get the speed test. And it just goes from there, just, like it was on Owen Avenue. We're gonna stick with the PennDOT guidelines for traffic calming, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Any other questions or concerns, Councilman Siddiq?
I'm getting almost every week the text message from Miss Miller regarding the project of Overland Market Street. Any update?
Which one?
Handicap ramp for the Overland Market?
Oh, I wish my Colin was here. Can I get back to you? Oh, you are, Mike? I didn't see you. Hey, come on down. Come on down.
Sure.
No further play. It's all yours, man.
Can you repeat what location you're looking for hitting?
Market Overland.
That project, they're completing the survey right now, so we have to, so when we go through the process, we get the grant, we have to go through the agreement process with the grantee. We hired a consultant. They are working on getting the survey done. Once they get the survey, that's gonna be done next week. They're gonna start working on the concept plans, and then you'll start seeing more conceptual drawings in the next few weeks, and we'll have some public meetings, and the project will move forward. So that's where we're at with the, we're in the design process right now.
Thank you so much. I will let them know.
Sure. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other old business? Councilwoman Phillips?
Yeah, sorry. I just want to thank I think his name is Tom from the street department. Isn't he? He does the lighting. Yes. Thank you. He I reached out to I did a request line about the lighting on Church Lane a while back, and at the last meeting, and he fixed it. And his lighting is clear now. Residents reach out to me and they're like, "Oh, thank you so much. It's safer around there." So just wanted I thank him, but just wanted to let you guys know that he was on it like almost immediately. So, because the lights were out, I don't know how long they were out, but they were out, and the resident was like, "Oh, thank you." So I just wanted to thank him publicly for hopping on that as quickly as he did. So thank you guys.
That's great feedback.
Yeah.
Great. Any other old business?
I have one more item. Can I please?
Okay.
That's Church Lane and Greenwood. There is a pool over there. When exiting traffic from the Greenwood to Church Lane, there used to be a big mirror over there to see the traffic. That is missing. Somebody break that one right in front of the Greenwood and Church Lane. That glass is missing. To people coming out from the Greenwood, it's very hard to make a left or right turn due to the that corner, because the street is curved over there. So I'd like to administration please provide or set up a mirror over there like before. I don't know who put that mirror before, but it was there. It's missing now.
Okay, so that's an example that could have gone to the request line
Okay, I got it.
in the future. Okay. All right. Any other old business? Okay, seeing none. New business. Anyone? Councilman Janus.
Yeah, I just want to formally invite everyone on August 21st at Second World Playground from 12 to 3. I partner with 5 organizations led by alumni of Upper Darby High School, one of which wants a Cardinal Hair to give back to school book bag giveaway at Second World Playground from 12 to 3. I would ask if you guys are available, if you could please come by. It's very important for our young people to see our I like to say legislators and public officials, especially those of you that live on the other side of the township. I really want to extend the invitation to have you come and council this district in the Second Ward Playground and help us give some kids some backpacks. And if you would like to donate anything, we would like to take donations in the form of school supplies. So notebooks, pencils, anything that many of you did back to school shopping before. So whatever you need, let me know.
What's the date again?
August 21st. It's a Saturday from 12 to 3.
So what time, like, how would you want people to get, so people should just email you for,
Yeah, you can email, I'm sorry about that. You can email Tuna's Book Bag Giveaway 2021@gmail.com, and we can take things from there. I just want to thank residents. A lot of residents have been really helpful with getting me school supplies. I think it would be great for our young people.
Share our video.
Yeah, it's tradition.
great, anyone else?
I know, speaking of, do we still do that, Joan?
Is Joe doing it? That's a good question.
Because she usually does do it too.
We'll find out.
Oh,
Like some people there, but
you would
I'm doing it, then I'll send them.
also, I should say, the same day, I believe from 10 to 12, Rep. Zabel is also doing a book bag giveaway. You can find out more on his social media sites. I don't know the exact location, but he is doing a book bag giveaway.
Behind Hereford.
Yeah, from 10 to 12.
Is that behind Garfield School?
Yeah. Okay, Councilman.
So, on this Saturday, Sunday, I'm sorry, and also on the 22nd, from 9 to 12, there will be a community cleanup at the cleanup. I'm sorry, I missed it.
The Jewish
The
cemetery.
Jewish cemetery.
Are you?
Huh?
Are you?
Okay, there you go. Thank you for that. From 9 to 12. So again, it's on Sunday, beginning this Sunday, the 8th and the 22nd. Just gonna help the cemetery to clean up the cemetery there, to get rid of all the weeds and everything like that, because some of the headstones are messed up and it's overgrown. So if people can come out and help with that, that'd be great.
I'm sorry.
9 to 12,
9 to 12.
yeah, on the 8th and again on the 22nd.
Okay, anyone else? All right, seeing none. Can we get one more motion, which is a motion to adjourn? Phillips and Zeke. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstains? Ayes have it. Thank